Glad to have you join us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguwele. Big tech companies responsible for online and digital payment platforms self-regulate quite all right. But the cyberspace is still a risky environment as online scams, cyberbullying, misinformation and data breaches still exist. Well, in response to this, the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, is engaging stakeholders, including lawmakers from the National Assembly and the civil society organizations, for a public hearing to shape a white paper that will form the basis for a new online harm protection bill. Chimdema in the BC will tell us more.
What is going on? Just force my account to some scammers now. Mayo here just informed me that she has lost access to her email account containing important documents. It is for people like her and others who experience one form of cybercrime or the other that our bill on online harm protection is being proposed at the National Assembly. The bill seeks to make handlers of online platforms accountable, secure data of citizens, and minimize their authority on controlling what people see or read by filtering viewed content, which invariably shapes societal opinions.
95% are worried about misinformation. I've been a victim. The spread of false information has fueled real-world violence, demonstrating how online harm can have offline, life or death consequences.
This is beyond software development. This is a social engineering thing. So we think of having online harm protection center like a semi-autonomous agency.
It must speak the language of trust. It must reflect the lived experiences of the old woman navigating Facebook and WhatsApp.
Stakeholders here are quick to clarify that it's not an attempt to gag the social media, but to regulate online activities and protect democracy. In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Retired police pensioners today staged a protest at the headquarters of the Nigerian Police Force in Abuja, demanding their removal from the contributory pension scheme. Francis Pham reports that the entrance to the Liu Edet House was blocked for several hours as the senior citizens voiced their frustration over what they described as years of neglect and hardship.
Taking me to Pencom, abandoned all of us here in the Pencom. Our money in the Pencom, they seized it. Refused to give us, giving us 30,000.
So they should remove us from Pencom and give us our entitlement. My demand is let's get out of pension. Police should get out of pension. That is just not Pencom.
Despite the disruptions to regular activity at the force headquarters, the protests remained peaceful. The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of the mobile police force was on ground to address the protesters on behalf of the IGP.
All what I just have is the message of the IGP. One, we should not use force. We should continue to dialogue with them. He's ready, he's in a meeting with the management team, deliberating over this issue. And that two, is ready to speak with them in a more secured and a decent environment, which we have prepared. And I'm ready to lead everybody there.
The retired officers want government to urgently review their status and allow them to exit the current scheme in favor of what they called a more secure pension system. Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Otti has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to working closely with the Enugu State government and all the Southeast governors to enhance security across the region. Governor Otti made this known after a meeting with his Enugu State counterpart, Governor Peter Umba.
While addressing the press, Governor Alex Otti expressed appreciation to the governor of Enugu State for his visit to Abia State. He noted that their discussion focused on strategies to ensure improved security across both states. Governor Otti emphasized that his administration alongside many other states, strongly supports the creation of state police. He also reiterated his support for the call for the creation of an additional state in the southeast.
I'd like to thank you. Thank the people and the government of Enugu State for the cooperation, for working with us. Governance, being in a position of leadership, sometimes can feel like being in an echo chamber. So you do sometimes need to get out of that chamber and to also come out and compare notes and share views and all that.
In Omahia, Jidobera, NTA News.
Towards reviewing the 1999 Constitution as amended, the legislature is being tasked to prioritize the interests and welfare of the citizenry while introducing reforms that will strengthen governance institutions. This was at the South Zone B public hearing on review of the 1999 Constitution held in Calabar. Justina Etienne reports.
The 1999 Constitution, as amended, was crafted under the military regime, but following 26 years of uninterrupted democratic governance, the legislature is embarking on a review of the documents. Hence, the House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Amendments is gathering inputs of Nigerians categorized in the South Zone B to facilitate the alteration process.
We are here to listen, take instructions from you, and then we'll go back with your instructions to the House of Representatives.
Our people with various disabilities also deserve a place in government. The fundamental right of every citizen of Nigeria ought to be protected at all times.
Where we are right now as people in Benue State, we are not comfortable because of all kinds of marginalization.
We are seeking for the creation of the Obolo State.
Parts of the key areas of focus in the constitutional reform include gender inclusion, local government and electoral reforms, judicial independence, security and policing, and more. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
Nigeria has adopted renewable energy to bridge its energy gap and improve electricity supply. But access to sustainable financing remains a challenge. The British Council and the European Union have stepped in with funding for innovation and research to scale up local manufacturing of solar infrastructure. Joshua Ojito will tell us more.
Nigeria has abundant renewable energy sources, yet the cost of solar installation remains high, although donor agencies have continued to support Nigeria with grants to accelerate financing of solar mini-grids. A homegrown solution is key to sustainable funding and ensure solar infrastructure are cheaper for Nigerians. British Council steps in with funding for research and innovation and a homegrown technology developed to cut cost of solar energy installation.
EcoWise is Africa's first embedded digital monitoring, reporting and verification platform that is designed to track solar data, verify and monetize this data into environmental commodities, turning solar energy into real tradable environmental commodities such as carbon credits and renewable energy certificates.
The British Council has, we've come in as a funder because this aligns with our approach to enhance sustainable energy.
The technology will be deployed to solar mini-grids in Abuja and Nasarawa State as a pilot with planned expansion to other parts of the country before 2026.
Currently, renewable energy is funded mostly from equity, debt and grants. But, like we all know, grant is not something that should always be there for the longest term. For any market or any ecosystem to grow, at some point, grants need to fizzle out. So we see a pathway where these solutions can actually start substituting grants out. So there is actually, line of sight to commercial viability of having solar installations.
The target is to achieve clean energy financing through environmental commodities in Nigeria. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria are applauding the notable shift and reduction in inflation figures in the country. They are, however, of the view that Nigeria continues to grapple with soaring food inflation, straining household budgets nationwide. Lydia Sampson reports.
The economic experts argue that since food security is the most crucial with dire consequences, intensifying focus on agriculture is pivotal to revising high food inflation trend. They want increased investment in irrigation, modern farming equipment, and resilient seed varieties to boost productivity, making food more affordable and accessible.
So many people always limit headline inflation to year on year. Year on year is one we reported as 22.22. Okay. While the month on month is 1.68. Meaning that from June, May compared to June, average prices of goods and services have changed by 1.68%.
But again, these figures are also saying that the level of increase, the cost increase, are also being tempered, which of course tells us that perhaps with policy intervention or intensification of policy implementation, commitment to the policy implementation, these issues will be assuaged,
Expanding credits for farmers, along with reducing supply chain bottlenecks, the guests believe will ensure crops efficiently reach markets.
Support inputs, especially fertilizer and herbicides and other inputs that farmers need. Subsidize that. But more than that, guarantee prices for farmers. If you don't want to do that, okay, leave it. But guarantee prices for farmers so that the farmer that produces knows that he's not going to produce at a loss.
So it's also important that in discussing food, we also discuss industry. And in discussing industry, this is where these links that somebody had mentioned will come. Transportation and all that.
They are on the same page that by prioritizing agriculture, Nigeria can reduce dependency on expensive food imports and create jobs. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
All right, time to cross to Lagos. Let's find out the latest from that end. And Hingino, John Adams is set for us. Hello, Hingino.
Yeah, Sampson.
Ruth, and welcome to Lagos. Ending the menace of petroleum smuggling is one of the major goals of the Nigeria Customs Service, and with its continuous effort, it has made a notable breakthrough intercepting large quantity of premium motor spirit (PMS) bound for illegal export to the Republic of Benin, showcasing its unwavering commitment to safeguarding the nation's economy.
Smuggling of petroleum out of Nigeria has been a nagging problem along its borders, despite the Nigeria Customs Service's relentless fight against illicit trades and activities. However, the service, through the help of intensified surveillance, has recently intercepted significant quantities of petroleum motor spirit bound for illegal export to the Republic of Benin.
The operatives, acting on credible intelligence and in line with our renewed mandate, successfully intercepted a total of 1,134 jerrycans of 25 litres and 30 litres respectively, and 33 drums of premium motor spirits, yielding a volume of 35,535 litres at various notorious smuggling flashpoints, intercepted with 6 vehicles being used as means of conveyance.
The Comptroller General represented noted that such illicit activity deprives the government of billions of naira in revenue, strains the fuel supply chain, and undermines policies aimed at stabilizing the economy.
A total duty paid value of the intercepted petroleum products and conveying vehicles is to the tune of 58,360,000 naira only. At a time when the nation is grappling with energy distribution challenges, we cannot afford to allow saboteurs to compromise our national interest for personal gain.
The CG says the Nigeria Customs Service remains resolute in safeguarding the nation's borders against illicit trade, urging stakeholders and border communities to collaborate in combating economic saboteurs. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
Economic and social inclusion of widows of police officers who died in service to the nation will continue to receive priority attention. Vocational training in different crafts is one area the Lagos State chapter of the Police Officers' Wives Association is leveraging to ensure financial stability of the widows. Joel Pupola reports that over 200 women benefited from the skill acquisition and business empowerment courtesy of POA and its partners.
Widowhood is not the end of the world, and despite their traumatic experiences, members of the late Police Officers' Wives Association have found their feet again, courtesy of Lagos State chapter of the Police Officers' Wives Association, POA. POA chairperson Riscot Oluwatoyin Jimo assures that the association will continue to support members of La POA in their quest to improve the welfare of their children and protect them from family and societal abuse.
And recently, some of their children were also given scholarship, and we also organized a skill acquisition program for them. At least they can have something to do that can also help to better their lives.
Many of the widows are plagued by various ailments, and this free medical outreach is an opportunity to ascertain their health status. With economic empowerment being the thrust of the program, members of La POA were trained in various vocational skills, ranging from digital marketing, soap making, and catering. Practical experience of their desired craft aroused their curiosity, and members of La POA are not taking this for granted.
And I had this kind of mind of doing something like soap making, and I've learned a lot about how to make soap, and I think I'm okay with it.
Posts at times, but I don't say anything. But with what I've learned today, by implementing whatever that I've learned today, I believe that there will be a kind of changes in my views and engagement online.
Participants were also educated on how to handle mental health issues, their rights as widows, and financial literacy. No fewer than 40 members of La POA received sewing machines, grinding machines, air dryers, and other business startup equipment. In Lagos, Joel Pupola, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. Nationwide will continue after the break in Port Harcourt.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. 16 containers of prohibited substances with aggregate duty paid value of over 20 billion naira have been confiscated by the Nigerian Customs Service Port Harcourt Area 2 One in Rivers State. Director General of the Nigerian Customs, Bashiru Adewale Adeniyi, announced this at a press briefing at Nigerian Customs Service Port Harcourt Area 2 One. Emmanuel Lene reports that the significant anti-smuggling operation was jointly carried out by the Nigerian Customs Service and National Agency for Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC.
In the last few months, the two agencies, Nigeria Customs Service and NAFDAC, have collaborated for action against illegal importation of unregistered products. The latest operation at Port Harcourt Area 2 Command of Nigeria Customs Service led to interception of 16 containers of illegal, unregistered, and unwholesome products imported into the country. 11 of the containers were found to contain illicit pharmaceutical products comprising over 1 million bottles of codeine syrup, over 9 million tablets of diclofenac, over 12 million tablets of tramadol, 210,000 tablets of Hygra, over 700,000 tablets of Bisova G, and over 2 million tablets of Bazooka. The banned items were strategically concealed among consumer goods like chili cutters, ceiling fans, plumbing materials, smart tech vehicle parts, tomato paste, and cream.
Our anti-smuggling operations align directly with the administration's comprehensive approach to combating transnational organized crime, and ensuring that Nigeria's border remain impenetrable to criminal enterprises seeking to compromise our national sovereignty.
This handover underscores a critical message that our borders are not open to compromise when it comes to the safety and well-being of all of us.
Comptroller of Customs, Mr. Bashir Adeniyi, affirmed the commitment of the Customs Service to tracking the culprits to bring them to book, warning perpetrators to be wary of their actions. From One in Rivers State, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
Okehi-Eberi-Aba Road remains a strategic road network for trade and commerce, particularly for transportation of agricultural produce for inhabitants and business communities in Rivers and Abia states. However, the deplorable state of Umuagozia-Eberi section of the road is hindering economic activities, necessitating urgent attention from relevant authorities. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
Along Okehi-Aba Road lies an agrarian community, Umuagozia-Eberi, in Omoma local government area. The area is rich in agricultural produce and remains a gateway from Rivers State, providing access to traders, entrepreneurs, and others who pass through for economic activities in Aba commercial city.
This road is the road that leads to Aba. That's the access road for we to do our business. So, as the road blocked like this, I'm a trader, I'm a businessman, but nothing is moving. My business is not moving.
We need the government to help this community in order to work this place.
No way to move. Every day by day, we fall on the side water every blessed day.
The sorry state of the road is impacting negatively on socio-economic activities in the area, such that inhabitants are appealing to Rivers State government to take action concerning the road, which will also reduce hurdles school children go through to get to their schools.
Our children are not going to school. Because of that, nobody will carry them.
Now you don't wear our school uniform. It will be hard for us to walk on top of the water and cross the road.
The local farmers are worried that patronage of farm produce is dwindling, so fixing the road would help stimulate economic growth along the Rivers and Abia States corridor through Eberi Omoma. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
And that's the size of a package from here. It's now back to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Gabriel. Late President Muhammadu Buhari's imprint on Nigeria's oil and gas industry, which many acknowledge as profound, played a significant role in the development of the sector. His administration broke a 2-decade deadlock by passing the Petroleum Industry Act in 2021. Lydia Sampson reports.
As petroleum minister in the late 1970s, he oversaw the construction of vital infrastructure, laying foundations for modern operations. Decades later, as executive chairman of the Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF, Buhari directed ambitious intervention projects in roads, education and healthcare.
Enhancement of the LNG capacity, support for the refining capacity. He also supported the development, growth and expansion of the largest African refinery, that is the Dangote refinery. These initiatives have collectively advanced Nigeria's oil and gas sector.
President Muhammad Buhari has added value to the oil and gas sector through construction, building and the reconstruction of the major corridors where petroleum product moves.
While supporters praise his commitment to accountability and his pivotal role in passing the Milestone Petroleum Industry Act, PIE, some believe that Buhari's oil legacy remains a mix of foundational reforms. Major gas infrastructure projects like the Kaduna Kano gas pipeline and the Nigerian-Morocco gas pipeline marked his decade of gas vision to expand domestic gas utilization and boost energy supply. These triggered the turnaround from Nigeria's over-reliance on oil to adoption of gas as transition fuel for the country.
He gave adequate consideration to the oil sector because of his experience in the field, because he knows how important the oil sector is, as he was once Minister for Petroleum.
And so it is natural at the Ministry of Petroleum Resources to have a condolence register. Before our visit, we learned the two ministers, the permanent secretary, and others have signed this register. Despite setbacks occasioned by complexities across the oil and gas value chains, Buhari's strategic focus on infrastructure, governance, and reforms were instrumental in sustaining the sector's role as Nigeria's economic backbone. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Recognizing the demanding nature of their profession, journalists in the Federal Capital Territory have benefited from a free medical outreach. This vital initiative by the Nigerian Union of Journalists FCT Council in collaboration with Nizamiye Hospital seeks to bridge existing health gaps among media practitioners. Elizabeth Omori reports that the medical outreach is one of the activities designed to commemorate the 2025 NUJ FCT Council Press Week.
So, I have just been checked.
It's not the usual day at the NUJ FCT Secretariat. The business this time is about health and well-being. Queen Kunde is the editor of ZT Online News and has been practicing journalism for 23 years. She says media practitioners must prioritize their health as they meet deadlines.
You have to spend hours seated at an event covering it, and then you come back trying to either transcribe or write out just about 7 paragraphs or thereabouts to ensure that you capture the essence of that event to become news. Quite strenuous.
Medical checks such as eye examination, blood pressure and sugar tests were part of health services made available.
Let us remember that a healthy journalist is a strong advocate for truth. If you're not strong, I doubt if you can go to the field.
Cataract, we actually promise to do that free of charge, and if there is any necessary for other surgeries too, we can handle that.
Health checks are very important, at least the basic ones, because it is when you are detected early, when any ailment is detected early, that is when they can attend to it.
They believe addressing the health needs of journalists require a comprehensive approach, which includes access to affordable and quality health care, the call for improved welfare to reduce economic burden that often contributes to health-related issues. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Talking health, available health statistics show that as at May 2024, Akwa Ibom State has a maternal mortality and morbidity rate of 520 per 100,000 live births annually, a figure the state government is ready to crush through its health insurance for pregnant women and the elderly. Clement Barikiu has details on such scheme.
The universal health coverage in Nigeria aims to ensure that all citizens have access to quality healthcare services without facing any financial hardship. In Akwa Ibom State, the government is implementing several policies to advance financing of health expenditure. This is one of the beauties of the ongoing health insurance scheme.
One of my sons in the Lord went to hospital, went to a place and collected drugs. I was very surprised, and they test her free of charge.
So far, we are holding a very high strategic meeting between the Health Insurance Agency and the Primary Healthcare Development Agency, so that what we are observing on ground, we are telling them.
State-wise, internationally, people have become very interested in this scheme.
In September 2024, the Akwa Ibom State Health Insurance Scheme so far has about 90,718 beneficiaries, including 42,000 civil servants, 43,000 vulnerable and elderly persons, as well as 4,000 persons in the informal sector. Clement Barikui, NTA News.
And to get more insight into the benefit of the Akwa Ibom State Health Insurance Scheme, let's join Clement now for that update. Hello, Clement.
Before now, the maternal mortality and morbidity rate in Akwa Ibom State was very high. And so what the state government is doing now through the health insurance scheme is to see how the curve can be brought down. As we speak, as a civil servant and you get pregnant or anyone related to you is pregnant, treatment is free at any public and private hospital accredited for this scheme. And then for those in the private sector, with a down payment of 18,000 naira, you are covered by the scheme. And so, as we speak, the people have embraced this scheme. The elderly are not left out, and other vulnerable persons. The people have embraced this scheme, and the registration enrollment is ongoing across specific centers. But what the state government is hoping to do in the near future is to see how online enrollment can be activated to enable citizens who are interested in joining the scheme to do so from the comfort of their homes or wherever they are.
All right, thank you, Clement. Good to see that happening at the subnational and at the federal level in upscaling healthcare system in the country. We hear the government says it remains committed to strengthening Nigeria's health workforce through strategic public and private partnerships, as the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare signs a tripartite memorandum of understanding with the Federal Medical Center Owo and the Achievers University in Ondo State. Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Adekunle Salako, says the MOU will allow some selected institutions to utilize facilities at the Federal Medical Center for the clinical training of its medical and allied health students, which also aligns with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed health agenda, which prioritizes collaboration between the public and private sectors to bridge the critical shortage of health workers in the country.
Creating more avenue to train more. Not only are we able to retain some of them, but we can actually tweak the immigration of health workers to a business concept.
And capacities are being built among the health workers in those hospitals. Presently, we have people from Gambia, Cameroon, who are training our staff on how to build capacities to carry out research to develop vaccines.
Hope should not be lost about Nigerian moving forward. By the time we have 1, 2, 3 dotting the landscape, we can move forward.
Still on health, Nigeria has made remarkable improvement in the prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV, leading to the reduction in the pediatric HIV in the country. The National Coordinator, National AIDS, Hepatitis and STIs Control Program, Dr. Adebobola Bashorun, said this while briefing newsmen on the update in Abuja. The coordinator noted that this is made possible by various interventions of the present government and partners on HIV response, which have led to the reduction of vertical transmission rates significantly, with over 90% of identified HIV-positive pregnant women receiving antiretroviral therapy. He said the NASCP remains at the forefront of Nigeria's national HIV response, with recognition to children and pregnant women as vulnerable population.
We'll be focusing on sharing some of these findings, and these findings deliberately or coincidentally fit into the Free to Shine initiative of the First Lady of Nigeria, Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu CON. We've been able to improve our early infant diagnosis equipment setup from about 0 to 85 for a technology called the MPMA technology, and we've also been able to improve the Gene Expert, which is another mechanism of equipment that can use to do early diagnosis in children.
The coordinator stressed the need for health journalists to write Nigeria's narrative on HIV by themselves so people may know what Nigerian government is doing in line with the renewed hope agenda of the present administration and the Free to Shine initiative of the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. Benin will be our next stop, and Udwak Obang is set to guide us. Hello, Udwak.
Welcome to Benin. Edo State government has established a formidable security force, the Force Operation Base in Edo Central, to address security challenges in the region. This initiative is in addition to other security measures put in place to ensure the safety of lives and property of the people. Goodluck Enaini reports.
Governor Mondo Kpawolo visited the FOB in Uromi, Esa Northeast local government area, to boost the morale of the security personnel. The FOB is manned by a standby detachment of Nigerian Army personnel who are fully prepared for the task ahead.
Your Excellency, troops of FOB Udom Fomo, may I have your permission to stand at the for address, sir.
The governor urged the security personnel to be professional in the discharge of their duties, safeguarding citizens who have agreed to cooperate with them. He emphasized the need for the security forces to succeed in their mission.
The reason why you are here is because of the peculiar issue we have in this land, the insecurity. That is the main reason why we are all here. I want you to know that our people are very accommodative. And now that you are here, you are part of us. Your job here is to come and keep this place safe. And I want you to do this professionally.
The governor was accompanied on the visit by the commander, 4 Brigade, Nigerian Army, and some members of the State Executive Council. From Uromi, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
The Asagba of Asaba, Professor Epifani Asingi, has expressed concern over the consequences of Nigerians' over-reliance on oil as the mainstay of its economy. This was highlighted during a meeting with participants of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Asaba, Delta State. Helen Donko reports.
Decrying the effect of oil wealth on Nigeria's blue economy and marine resources, the Asaba noted that oil had relegated other national assets to the background. He mentioned that overdependence on quick oil wealth had already affected fishing, which was a major occupation in coastal line areas of Nigeria. He said the economy of Nigeria could only come to its fullness when diversified to the blue economy.
If we embrace this diversity to the blue economy, I believe that we can sustain our economy to the fullest. And we will have more than enough money to invest in many other things.
Earlier, leader of the delegation, Deputy Inspector General Adeleye Oyebade, retired, said the visit was to pay homage to the Asaba of Asaba as they navigate through Delta State and other coastal states of the country in search of the treasure inherent in the ocean.
We are here to interact with the government and the people, especially the community leaders in the areas, coastline areas, to find out what we can do to better the blue economy.
Participants of the Senior Executive Course 47 of Nigerian Institute of Policies and Strategic Studies, NIPS, said they had visited some African countries before now in a bid to achieve President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's mandate on the blue economy. In Asaba, Helen Dunku, NTA News.
Joining us here in Kaduna, the Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination, Hadiza Bala Usman, joins other voices in advocating for the recognition of female gender participation in leadership and nation building. She made the call during a conference on Queen Amina with the team Leadership Strategy and Nation Building, Lessons for Contemporary Leaders in Nigeria, held at the Nigerian Defense Academy here in Kaduna. Haruna Muhammad reports.
The Historical Society of Nigeria.
Drawing lessons from history and the experience of iconic figures like Queen Amina and learning from the contributions of women like Ngozi Konjo-Iweala and Amina Mohammed, amongst several others. This conference at the Nigerian Defense Academy brought together a sphere of dignitaries including political class, religion and traditional, with the theme Military Leadership in African History, Queen Amina, a Perspective, draws attention to the role of women and value as well as contribution in nation building. The special advisor to the president on policy and coordination, Hadiza Bala Usman, represented in her address opined Nigeria must recognize the value of women's participation in leadership and nation building, leveraging on the legacies of previous iconic figures in their quest for nation building.
Women have consistently demonstrated leadership acumen, strategic thinking, and bravery in the face of adversity. These women have shown us that leadership is not the preserve of any particular gender, but rather a quality that can be cultivated and honed.
The Commandant, Nigerian Defense Academy, Major General Abdul Ibrahim, says the academy is committed to playing a leading role, shaping the next generation of leaders in Africa, in the numerous challenges that requires effective leadership and strategic thinking.
Let us work together to identify lessons that can help leadership development in Africa and Nigeria, and to also develop strategies that can help us build more effective, accountable, and responsive leadership.
Other speakers also lend their voices to the cause and stresses the need for policymakers to adhere to the scholarly exchange and highlight the role of military leaders in shaping the socio-political landscapes from ancient times to the modern era. In Kaduna, Haruna Muhammad, NTA News.
In a renewed effort to bridge the infrastructural gaps and uplift vulnerable communities in Kaduna State, the state governor has embarked on an on-the-spot inspection of ongoing projects across the state. Our correspondent reports that, accompanied by senior government officials, the governor toured several project sites from road networks to mass housing units at Millennium City to provide the less privileged families with shelter.
It is a moment of joy and smiles for residents in both rural and urban areas in Kaduna State as key infrastructural projects begins to take shape. In the rural areas, this 35-kilometer Gadangayan-Gwaraji Marabon Kujama to Koru Road is one of the infrastructure that people are happy with. It links several farming communities, opening up more doors of opportunities for the farmers to transport their goods without any hardship. Within the city, major urban projects are on the way. The Rabo Road linking to Rugasa Railway Station, as well as the Aliu Makama Road connecting the metropolis to southern part of the state through this bridge across the river Kaduna. All these are among the projects inspected by the governor.
Aliu House down to Rugasa train station. In the last 1 year, I can say that they've done a lot because they have covered some numbers of kilometers, which is also a dual carriageway, as you can see.
He equally visited the Qatar Charity Housing Estate, a fully equipped residential project designed for the less privileged families in Kaduna State.
We have completed the first phase of this project. You can see 50 houses have been completed. A clinic has been completed too, as well as a school and a shopping mall. And of course, these houses will be given to the less privileged, particularly the victims of banditry and kidnappings within our state.
This project, the stakeholders say, reflect the government's commitment to inclusive development, bridging gaps between rural and urban communities in the state.
And as our contributions from this end nationwide continues in our Abuja studio. Over to you, Roots.
Thank you, Mohammed. Journalists in Abuja earlier today took to the streets in a symbolic walk for press freedom, organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists FCT Council, marking the start of the 2025 activities for the Press Week. Oche Ngbede reports that the NTA was well represented at the walk.
To mark the 2025 NUJ Press Week, journalists in Abuja had a symbolic walk of unity and resilience. Hundreds of them from across various media houses staged the peaceful walk to demand greater protection for press freedom and the rights of media practitioners in the country. Organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists FCT chapter, the walk began at the NUJ headquarters and proceeded through major streets in the FCT with participants carrying placards with messages such as "Journalism is not a crime."
The media in Nigeria remains the vigilant guardian of truth and the uncompromising defender of democracy. As we gather this period for this Press Week activity, we reaffirm that a free press is the cornerstone of any thriving democracy.
We are amplifying voices this morning to say that press freedom is not negotiable. Press freedom is not should not be taken for granted.
We want to say that press freedom is our right. It's not a privilege. We want to say that press freedom is the mother of all other freedoms.
That journalists are the backbone of the society. Apart from being the watchdog, we do a whole lot of damage control for the society, for government, for corporate institutions. Because without journalists, a lot of things would have gone wrong.
If we are called the fourth realm of the estate, we should have a little bit of freedom. A little bit of freedom from intimidation. And I also want to say that as we advocate for this freedom, let us remember also to work within our ethical values.
The walk comes amid increasing report of harassment and unlawful arrest against journalists, with NUJ pledging to continue advocating for a free, safe and responsible press environment in Nigeria. In Abuja, Oche Ngbede, NTA News.
Well done to NUJ FCT Council. I missed that while I was trying to save some calories. Let's take sports update.
Nigeria's Super Falcons returned to training after their impressive 5-0 win over Zambia in the quarterfinals of the 2024 Africa Women's Championship. The 9-time African champions hit the field again on Sunday to begin preparations for their eagerly awaited semi-final match against the defending champions, South Africa, scheduled for Tuesday. Meanwhile, preparations for Nigerians D Tigers ahead of the 2025 Women's Afro Basket Championship have officially commenced in Abuja after a series of delays. The invited players have begun arriving at the national camp. Over the weekend, 14 players were present, with more expected to arrive later in the day. Elsewhere, the stage is set in Abuja for the official commencement of the 2025 UFAC African Karate Championship, which attracted over 1,000 athletes from 31 countries across the continent. This event marks a significant milestone as Nigeria becomes the first West African nation to host this esteemed championship, highlighting the country's impressive advancements in developing karate from the grassroots level.
We have officials from other countries that are here to provide technical assistance to the championship here on ground. And on our part, as a federation, we have been on ground for the past 1 week trying to ensure that all the logistics are in place.
Away from that, chess enthusiasts gathered in Abuja to celebrate this year's International Chess Day with a competitive spirit. The Abuja Elite Chess Meetup Tournament attracted players of all ages, showcasing their strategic skills in the game. After a series of intense matches, Adewale Adeyinka Samuel was crowned the champion.
I believe by the time we take the game of chess to the nooks and crannies of this part of Nigeria, one day we'll also reach that point where we'll have a grandmaster.
And finally, 7-time Grand Slam champion Venus Williams is set to make her return to competitive tennis at this week's DC Open, ending a 16-month layoff following a serious health scare. The 45-year-old American has accepted a wildcard entry into the tournament, which serves as the first hard-court warm-up event for the US Open. For Sports Update, Bright Ebochu, NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide. Thank you for your company. I'm Ruth Aguwele. Good evening.